Everybody talks about belly fat, but not all belly fat is created equal. The most dangerous fat you can have isn't the pinchable fat on your stomach that you can grab. It's actually hidden, and that's what we call visceral fat. That type of fat wraps around your organs and damages your health every minute and every second of each and every single day. But the good news is you don't need a complicated diet, you don't need gimmicks, and you don't need supplements that are gonna promise you overnight results, because that's not how it's gonna happen. But today I'm gonna show you exactly what visceral fat is, why it's dangerous, and one of the easiest diets to implement to help you reduce it. And it's one I personally use with my clients to help them to get into the leanest possible shape they can in the quickest amount of time. So let's begin. All right, first thing, what is visceral fat? So generally there's two types of body fat. There's subcutaneous fat, which is usually the fat underneath your skins. It's the ones you could pinch. So what I just did prior, the one you could pinch on your stomach, that everybody likes to be afraid of, that you could visually see in the mirror, that nobody wants, especially around summertime. That's generally the subcutaneous fat. Now for the next type of fat is what we call the visceral fat. This fat is stored deep inside your abdominal region. It surrounds your liver, it surrounds your pancreas, and surrounds your intestines. This is generally known as the dangerous type of fat. And the craziest thing about this is two people can essentially look the same from the outside, but one might be carrying dangerous levels of visceral fat internally and the other one might not be. And you wouldn't even know that, and that's a pretty big deciding factor whether your health is going to be more detrimental than the others. And the reason specifically why visceral fat is dangerous and just is not good to have in general is one, it's going to increase insulin resistance. So you're going to be more prone to type 2 diabetes. Not type 1 because type 1 is irreversible, but type 2 diabetes specifically. It's going to release inflammatory chemicals, so it's going to possibly damage arteries. It's going to raise your risk for heart disease. It's going to strain your liver and increase risk of fatty liver disease. You could tell already visceral fat isn't something you want to have. It's also been shown to link to shorter lifespan and poor metabolic health. So the more fat we generally have and the less muscle mass, the less better metabolic health we generally have. This isn't only about aesthetics. This is more than that. It's also about health and longevity, which is what we want in the fitness industry. Why most diets fail. All right, so there's a lot of reasons why most diets fail. I'll tell you that right now. Maybe because people just want to do whatever they want to do and they think they're going to get the quickest and best results doing what they want to do. And that's not how it works. Most people try fad diets. So this is a really popular thing. So we're talking about ketos, detoxes, cleanses. If somebody throws out those words, just know that your liver and your kidneys already do that function for you. And if it wasn't that possible, and if your liver and kidney didn't do that and didn't detox your body, you wouldn't be here right now watching this video. And another reason why we usually don't follow fad diets because they never work in the long run and they're really hard to stick with, if anything. And then you get the results and then you lose the results and then it doesn't make sense because you keep going back and forth between the diet. So visceral fat doesn't really require perfection. You don't need to be perfect when we're doing this. It just requires consistency. It's as with anything else. If you do something at the beginning, you know you're gonna suck at it, you know you're gonna fail at it. That's why being consistent and picking up on all the things that you kind of did wrong, on all those small mistakes, so it eventually adds up to you being better and better every single day. That's what really is gonna make it or break it for you. Even a 5 to 10% drop in body fat and body weight can significantly reduce visceral fat and improve health markers. So just knowing that reducing visceral fat 5 to 10% is gonna play a huge, huge role on your metabolic health overall, and probably in your lifestyle in general. So you're just gonna feel better, your mood's gonna be better, your sleep's gonna be better, you're gonna look better. It's gonna affect other relationships in your life as well. Which is why I'm gonna break it down to the world's easiest diet framework. All right, so this is my proven approach. This isn't a long-term thing. This is just a here and now kind of thing. But essentially, if you wanted to do it for longer term, you possibly can. So protein first at every meal. So we're talking about protein as in essentially the leanest protein options we can grab. So chicken breasts, turkey, eggs are always amazing. Either pasture raised or just regular egg yolks. Usually people generally go with pasture raised just because the yolk, it has like a deep orange color. So essentially it might have more nutrients than regular eggs you buy. Greek yogurt, for Greek yogurt, it's gonna be generally like non-fat or fat-free Greek yogurt just because it has a better protein to calorie ratio. Usually the Okois, the Chobanis, or just get regular non-fat and fat-free Greek yogurt. Whey protein, very awesome, very good. I just don't consume a lot of it. It's just every here and there just to supplement your daily day. Either whey isolate or whey hydrolyzed just because it's gonna be better It's gonna be easier on your stomach. Versus if you were to get just a whey concentrate, it's not a bad option, but if you do have like stomach issues as it is, one, see your doctor, see your local dietitian, and then emulate the hydrolyzed whey protein, the whey isolate. The protein specifically is what's gonna help you preserve the muscle mass while we're dropping body fat. But specifically when we're dieting, guys, protein is very important because it's gonna preserve the muscle mass while we're losing body weight. And while we're losing body weight, we just wanna lose body fat for that reason. It's also gonna help you keep full. Usually protein is one of the macronutrients that's gonna help you keep full for longer. When you're coming down your dieting phase, you're 12 weeks in or 13, 15, 16 weeks in, you're gonna start to get a little bit hungry. Your hunger hormones are gonna start to go off the levels. Your hunger hormones like your ghrelin and your leptin levels are gonna start to go up and down. It's gonna make you essentially crave certain things at random moments, at random times. So the protein is gonna help you essentially fill those gaps in. Fiber-rich foods. So fiber-rich foods can include black beans, one of my favorites to include, because not only do they have protein, they have the carbohydrates and the fiber to help fuel your workout. I would just essentially keep it about 2 to 3 hours before my workout because it does have fiber. And fiber generally takes a little bit longer to digest. Lentils we got spinach, broccoli, blueberries, wild blueberries specifically because they have twice the amount of antioxidants than regular blueberries. And usually if you get them frozen, which I like to do, either from Costco, you get Wyman blueberries, one of the top, they're gonna preserve its nutrients better because they're frozen at peak freshness. And then you're saving a lot of money when you buy them. Fiber is gonna essentially help control blood sugar and appetite. And usually with fiber, there's been a lot of scientific literature coming out that every 5 to 10 grams of fiber has been shown to reduce all-cause mortality, diseases, cancer risk. So fiber is very important to include. I think fiber is one of the most essential, important things to include. We can use smart carbs, not no carbs. For this case, I like to use rice. I generally go with brown rice, basmati rice, jasmine rice isn't a bad one. Potatoes, sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, and then whole grain bread. And we want to include moderate healthy fats. So avocados, olive oil, salmon, walnuts, those are all really good options. Usually with healthy fats too, they generally have omega-3s for your brain health, for your heart health, and they're gonna help you reduce possible inflammation in the body too. So omega-3s are very essentially important because not many Americans get omega-3s as it is. We can do lifestyle tweaks too, guys. So these become very important and very imperative. So I always include 30-minute incline walking, either before my workout, if I'm not really like mentally there, if I wanna pump up some blood in my body and just possibly reduce injury risk, especially as you get older, or I do it afterwards. Generally, I've been doing it before. And just even walking daily, maybe 10K steps a day, 5K steps a day, just to do something. Those help immensely. Burn calories and increase all the dopamine and serotonin levels in your brain, so it increases your mood as well to make you want to work out possibly later. Sleeping 7 to 9 hours per night of sleep. So you're sleeping in a dark room, cool room below 68 degrees. 60 to 68 degrees is usually the sweet spot. No blue light 1 to 2 hours before you go to bed. And then another really crucial point is to stop eating about 2 to 3 hours before bed because it's gonna help you with digestion and fat mobilization. So it's not gonna be sitting in your stomach and it's not gonna overlap with your sleep phase. So it's gonna help you sleep better throughout the night as well. So I always tell my clients, and I do it for myself, I've been doing this for years, if your last meal is 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, make sure you're not going to bed till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. If you don't go to bed till 9 o'clock, make sure your last meal is maybe like 5, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at the latest. Give your body some time to digest. So a sample day is what I would implement. Black beans, chicken, and spinach plan. This is one of the easiest, most simplest diets you could possibly do. There's about 3-4 food products we're using. And this is the one I personally get into clients who want fast, no excuse results. This is the sample meal plan. So breakfast for number 1 is gonna be 6 to 8 ounces of chicken breasts, 1 cup of black beans, which is generally, I wanna say around like 200 to 300 grams, 1 cup of spinach, 2 to 3 cups of blueberries, specifically wild blueberries. And then optional, you can always have black coffee, green tea, and then splash a little bit of almond milk in the black coffee and then add some Splendid stevia for a low calorie meal. But generally, that would be your breakfast. So I know it sounds a little weird, but we're just trying to keep it as simple as easy as possible. Meal number 2 would be lunch midday. So you're having 3 meals per day. Anything less than 3 meals, you might create more stomach discomfort because you're eating more food volume in one sitting. And then anything more than I wanna say really 4 to 5 meals, if anything, maybe 6 tops, you're gonna be a little bit more food focused and you're not gonna really enjoy the process. Or it's just gonna be too minimal in calories and you're just gonna be hungry all the time. In which case, we're gonna do, again, 6 to 8 ounces of chicken breast weighed in grams with 1 cup of black beans. So you're probably finishing off that can. So you're probably splitting that one specific can in half. And then 1 to 2 cups of steamed spinach or just raw spinach. You could always include low calorie sauces. So they have G. Hughes sugar-free sauce, which is amazing. Hot sauce, sriracha sauce. You add some salsa. That would be meal number 2. Now, meal number 3 is gonna be your last meal. Generally this, between the time frames, your breakfast is probably gonna be around 7 to 10 a.m. Your lunch, 12 to 2 p.m. And then your dinner, probably around 6 to 8 p.m., the latest. If you're going to bed around 10 to 11. Dinner is gonna be ultimately the same thing because it's the world's easiest diet. And then the last meal being 6 to 8 ounces of chicken breast, 1 cup of black beans. So you're probably opening up another can of black beans and then you're weighing out the servings. Broccoli blended up with essentially you're making a smoothie, essentially a sorbet. So you're making broccoli, ice, and watermelon for a low calorie sweet treat. And you're essentially hitting a lot of your micronutrients as well, which is gonna help you kind of keep you full throughout the night so you don't end up waking up in the middle of the night to always go in the fridge and look for something. And the reason why this works is 1, the chicken is lean protein for muscle preservation. You get the black beans specifically for your gut health. So you have the fiber, the slow carbs for satiety, and it's gonna help control your blood sugar levels. And then the spinach, the broccoli, the watermelon, they all have micronutrients and a lot of food volume with minimal calories, which are very, very crucial and important. In which case, when we total up these meals and these macros, so for each meal, generally for the macros for the chicken, the black beans, and the spinach, they're probably gonna be anywhere from 500 to 600 calories. So think about it like this. If your diet plan ends up to you being towards the last few weeks, 1,800 calories, this is what it essentially can be. Probably about 500, 600 calories for each meal, about 70 to 80 grams of protein, carbs 40 to 50 grams because you're getting that from the black beans essentially. And then you're also getting a little bit from the spinach. The fats are very minimal, and I'll tell you why in a few. And the fiber is about 15 to 20 grams per meal, which means the total daily meals for all the calories is gonna be around 1,600 to 1,800 calories. Protein well above 200 grams between the black beans having protein and then essentially your chicken breasts. The fat is gonna be very minimal, about 22 grams. And I generally keep it lower on the lower end just because if you're very physically active, depending on who you are, you're gonna wanna keep fats minimal because you want the carbohydrates to help fuel your workouts for any type of moderate to high intensity workouts. Especially when you start including more cardio and you keep the resistance training, it's gonna get very taxing and very hard on your body. And then fiber is gonna be generally anywhere from 40 grams upwards to 60 grams to health, because I've noticed a lot of my clients and a lot of other people, health starts to decline because we're not eating as much food, as much micronutrients as we generally were supposed to. So then it doesn't come out as good on the other end. So that helps essentially, which I tell most of my clients, about 5 to 6 grams in their pure omega-3 fish oils, which is very hard, especially to get when you're consuming fish. If you just get general pure omega-3s from fish oil brands like Nordic, that are really popular and really good and third-party tested, those can cover essentially a good amount of healthy fats. Now understand, this plan isn't glamorous. It's not supposed to be sustainable forever. You don't have to think about all the meals all the time and what you're making. It removes all the ultra-processed food, which are generally higher in caloric intake, and they're not gonna be as satiating as regular whole nutrient-dense foods. And it's gonna force your body to burn fat essentially, especially the visceral fat, which hurts your metabolic health the most. So here's the takeaway. If you want to reduce visceral fat, I'm telling you right now, you don't need endless recipes, you don't need multiple supplements or trendy hacks at all. You need simplicity and we need consistency. And you'll be amazed how quickly your waistline disappears and starts gradually getting smaller and smaller and smaller every single week. And on top of that, your energy is going to improve, your mood's going to improve, and probably your relationship with your other family members and your friends are going to improve as well. And if you guys want specific one-on-one coaching help from me with my own app, I'll send you guys all the customized training, all the customized nutrition programs, and the best supplements in the fitness industry to this day, all at your own expense. Sign up to my online coaching app and I'll show you everything you need to know to drop that body fat fast. And I'll see you soon.